The Lord be with you.
And also with you.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you.
Jesus said to his disciples, "You are the salt of the earth. But if salt loses its taste, with what can it be seasoned? It is no longer good for anything but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. A city set on a mountain cannot be hidden, nor do they light a lamp and then put it under a bushel basket. It is set on a lampstand, where it gives light to all in the house. Just so, your light must shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your heavenly Father." The Gospel of the Lord.
Salt and light. Salt and light. Jesus uses a lot of parables. I think of them as metaphors. They're different than the indicative writing of, let's say, Isaiah this morning, who says, "Feed the hungry, clothe the naked, and don't forget your own. Do not turn your back on them." Those aren't metaphors. That's what we're supposed to do. It's just do it. It's pretty clear. But metaphor speaks to the heart. Trust me, you're not really salt. You're a human being. You're not light. This isn't a Grateful Dead concert where you kind of off on some tangent. But those metaphors should speak to our hearts. They should move us to action. Jesus uses metaphors because not everything's law. Not everything's concrete. We're spirit. We're soul. He wants to move our souls. Of course, there's a million reasons to call us salt and light. Think about how salt makes food taste right and you can't see without light. I want to go to an insight I had this morning at 5 in the morning when I was putting down some salt and waiting for the light. Aren't you exhausted by winter? Aren't you ready to say it's over? I think we're going to have a parish trip to Florida next week. All going to go. Shut the doors, we're gone. Actually, I shouldn't do this. It's probably going to be on the web. I went to, when I was made pastor in Orange, the place before I was pastor here, I arrived in town, and there was a sign on the Unitarian church doors, and it said, "Have a nice summer, we'll see you in September." They just shut the whole church down in July for 2 months. Nice church. Love my Unitarian brothers and sisters. Really do. But if you think about it, I'm out there this morning, and we are just putting salt everywhere. It was so wonderful. Jelly Bellies, one of our parishioners, came by with a big truck and tons of salt everywhere. We usually go out with little salt buckets. I pulled out the big, full-size trash barrels on a dolly and we're throwing salt, and we went through salt everywhere. And still, now it's like 6:30, and we've salted everything you can see, but it can do what it does. Salt chemistry, I'm a chemistry major, and salt raises the boiling point and lowers the freezing point. It's kind of amazing. It takes water and changes its properties. And so that now, at the same temperature that the water should be frozen, now it melts. Great thing. But it doesn't work perfectly. Sometimes it just melts through the ice, and then you've got ice with lots of little salt holes in it. So then we're scraping with the plow blades, or out there with shovels and scraping and trying to get the salt back, the ice back as best we can. And then Mass started, Father Launch after Mass, and we're scraping and we're just, come on, we're going to make it through this. And the sun came up. And hours, literally 2.5 or 2 hours and 15 minutes of work, the sun came out in about 10 minutes. It did all that work for me. Next week we're going to schedule 7 o'clock Mass for about 8:10. We'll just kind of combine those things. But it's a great image, and we all know how important salt is up in New England. We all know how desperately we need the light to come out, the sun to rise, and give us a little bit of a break to warm up these roofs that are ready to crack, and to melt some of these snowbanks down, to truly clear out these parking lots of the ice that, without that sun, is going to stay there a long time. But you are salt and light, is what Jesus is saying. You are called to cut back on the dangers that sin and immorality put in our world. You are called to melt the frozen heart, a heart iced over with pain and anger. You are called to break up the chill in relationships. And you're called to be a light in the midst of all of this, to throw warmth and illumination, to bring hope and healing. How infinitely more powerful if we do this in God's strength. You know, the little light of mine, we say that little song, and it's Jesus' light that we want to shine through us. It's Jesus' salt that we want to be a part of. It's that gift and that grace that we are and we're called to be. Salt and light. Jesus calls us to do, instruments of his peace, to do the things we are made for, and to be the Christians we're called to be.